All right, we're ready?
Okay, great.
I'm Alice Hoffman. I'm the author of The World That We Knew, and I'm here with Judith Light, who is the narrator of The
World That We Knew, and so happily so.
And I'm so glad that you've done this, and I just think it's very exciting. And
What made you think of this? How did you weave this story?
you know, it was really two things. The first thing is that I had met a woman years and years and years ago who was waiting for me outside of a library when I gave a reading, and she said to me, "I want you to tell my story." And I said, "Well, you know, I don't do that. I don't write people's personal stories." And she said, "Well, I was a hidden child." I didn't even know what she meant. She said, "I was a hidden child in France. My parents put me in a convent. I didn't know I was Jewish, and it saved my life. And I'm afraid that if you don't tell the story, it's going to be forgotten." And, you know, I told her I couldn't, but I couldn't forget the story.
How much research did you have to do before you started writing, or did you do it as you were writing?
I did it as I was writing.
That's so interesting.
I usually do a kind of a chunk of research, then I write, because I don't want to get too, because I'm a novelist, I don't want to get too bogged down in the history.
Sure.
But what I did this time that I've never done before is that I've never wanted to talk to anybody, because I don't want to tell their story. I want to invent a story. But this time I felt like I had to talk to people.
Who'd you talk to?
I talked to survivors, child survivors. And in one case, I went, in France, I went with a man in his 80s who was a child survivor. We went back to the village where he had been together. He hadn't been there since he came down from Paris. He hadn't been there since he was there as a child. He couldn't find the house where he stayed, but it was so emotional. So emotional for
him and for you
and
subsequently.
to watch him. And I just felt like I'm not telling specific stories, but I wanted to get the emotions right.
That's the underbelly of this. That's the feeling in this, that as I was reading it, that the level of emotion is so deep and so ongoing, but it's not. It's not a problem. It's uplifting, and I don't know how to describe that.
I know, I wanted it to be filled with hope, but I have to say, one of the reasons I so wanted you to be the narrator was because you are so amazing with emotions, and you're so unafraid of emotions, and I felt like you could give such a voice to the story. I mean, I just think it adds so much to the story.
Move the intellect out of the way.
Absolutely.
And go, because the emotion rides on the blood and the water in the physical body.
I feel the same way. I'm trying not to think. I mean, I make an outline, I do research, but I'm trying not to think. I just want to feel and have it come from a subconscious place. You know, just come through me. And that's probably what you do as an actor.
Yes, and when you're doing, I think, your finest work, that's where you're living. That's where you're coming from, because you're giving this as a gift to people as they read it, and you will walk them through. You're never far from the reader. I mean, you were never far from me as I was reading this, that you're holding our hand as we're walking through the emotion of this story. And it's like when you're, 3, 5, Mommy, tell me a story. That's the way I feel in relation to you when you tell me this story.
It's so funny that you say that, because I feel like I work out of almost an oral tradition of grandmothers telling stories to their grandchildren.
Yes.
You know, cautionary tales, tales of hope, tales telling you how to survive in the world. That's exactly what I was trying to do.
That's in every single moment of this novel, and it's like, how do you get there? How do you do that?
Well, I think it's just like when you're acting and you let something come through you, and it's the same kind of thing. And I felt like, especially with World War II, I couldn't write it in a typical realistic way, because I wanted to write about the emotions of it more than the facts of it.
Shall we talk about what a golem is?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Let's talk about that, because you have created this mystical being.
Yeah. It's a traditional Jewish folk tale.
Yes. And they can be for good or for evil.
Yeah.
And in the creation of this, that it is traditional that the rabbis are the ones. Those are the ones who know about how to create the golem,
Right.
which is made traditionally out of mud or clay.
Yeah.
And in your story, it's
a teenage girl. Yeah, it's a young girl who creates the golem, and the mother wants
listened to the rabbi and the men, and she has remembered what the prayers are to create this. And it is the women who create this mystical being of protection.
Right, and because it's the women who create it, it's a different kind of golem.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And the magical manifestation of what happens, and I will not give it away in this, that happens out of it being the women. I mean, I can't talk to you about it without getting emotional. It's so, this is a story that brings women together.
I just have to say, I feel so fortunate that you are the reader of this book. As I said, I heard your voice from the beginning. I'm such a super fan. I think you can do anything. And I think when you are on stage or you're on film, you do channel characters. You do become somebody else. And it's just such a gift. And I just am so grateful to you for being the reader of this book. Thank you so much, Judith, really.
Thank you so much. I feel the same way. I feel that you've given me this incredible gift. And now you're going to give it to all of these people.